too quick. I'm Emily Lewin. My partner Sarah Bryant is going to come up in a minute. We're with the Bright Ideas Collective. As you can see, we're very excited to be here with you guys tonight. We're going to start with a little exercise that's going to be interactive with you guys tonight. So I want you all to close your eyes and picture yourself as a superhero. Do you have a picture in your mind? What's your superhero name? What are your powers? Do you have a costume? Do you have a cape or boots, a utility belt? Do you have weapons? You can open your eyes, but hold on to that picture in your mind as we go through our talk. See, we believe that every person, including all of you, have unique creative superpowers that were designed to change the world for good.
Every superhero also has a story. And while each one is unique, most are going to follow a very similar arc. And that starts with backstory, which is followed by discovery, fun and games, ownership, rising to the occasion, and finally, walking in power to change the world as a creative leader. Now, over the next few minutes, we're going to unpack each one of these stages in more depth and walk you through how they link together.
So think about that picture you had in your mind a moment ago, your superhero self. What is your backstory, your hero lore, your legend? What series of events combined to forge the unique creative superpowers that are inside of you? We all have a backstory, and for some of us, they may be traumatic, others may be unassuming, but all of our backstories are important. Every backstory has both treasures and traps that come from our family or our culture, and we get to choose how to interact with those. These may include mindsets, attitudes, talents that you have, relationships with God, money, yourself, all kinds of things. The important thing to remember is that you are not a victim of your familial or cultural past. You get to choose. You get to choose what voices to listen to, what mindsets to cultivate, and what relationships you want to be influenced by as you move forward in this journey as a creative superhero.
As you move forward out of your backstory, the next place you'll go into is discovery. This process begins when you say yes and step forward into your creative future. This is all about permission in the discovery process. It's about giving yourself permission to desire, to pursue, to begin, to fail, right? To try again, and to play. Now, discovery starts every time you try something new. So it'll actually happen multiple times in the course of your creative journey. It's not just a one-time thing. You'll actually circle through it multiple times over as you go through things. Now, the only thing that'll stop you from discovery is if you insist on staying in things that are familiar and comfortable. Discovery is all about adventure, so you have to be willing to try new things, go new places, experience new cultures even, because that is what leads you into discovery. And discovery will always push you outside your comfort zone so that it can help you encounter your true self.
The next stage in your hero journey is fun and games. As the name would imply, this is not the serious part of your journey as a creative superhero. This is playtime. This is where you get to explore, experiment, you get to fail and try again. You get to try out whatever unique creative expression belongs to you. It's really important in this stage not to should on yourself, as Marie mentioned a moment ago. This is about giving yourself time to see what you want to be as a creative superhero. Fun and games is less of a requirement and more of an invitation to answer the invitation in your own heart for more. It's really important to remember that comparison is not allowed in this stage, or really any stage of this creative superhero journey. It is impossible for you to discover your own unique creative superpowers if you're trying to live up to someone else's ideal. A fun thing about fun and games is that you'll discover that failure is going to be redefined as an experiential teacher rather than an identity or a destination. You may fail often in fun and games, but it's all right. It's part of the journey, and it's an important part of this phase. In fun and games, you get to be fully you.
So once you go through the fun and games process, then you enter into ownership. This is the stage of decision. Do you want to be a creative superhero? At this point in the process, this is when you have to ask yourself, does this process matter to me? And does it matter enough that I'm going to make real, serious choices to cultivate this creativity in my life? That means that this is when you start putting your money where your mouth is. This is that moment that if you're outfitting your costume, it's time to put on the cape. It's time to get the boots or the utility belt or the ray gun or whatever it is that you need as a creative superhero to move forward in your journey. Now's the time to invest in that, whatever it may look like. This is also the time to start really getting to know your mission and digging into the things that motivate you. You'll start setting goals and really focusing in as you hone in on what your unique creative expression looks like. And of course, it's unique to you, so it will be different from everyone else's, but now is the time to really get to know that. But a word of warning on this stage. If you say yes to ownership and owning your creative superpowers, your creativity will influence every area of your life from here on out. So it started and it will not stop.
All right, stand up. For
No,
real,
really.
stand up. The next stage in your creative superhero journey is rising to the occasion, which you all just did, so congratulations. Look at your neighbor and say, take the deal, like a New Yorker, like, take the deal. It's a church conference, we had to have to say something to your neighbor. Okay, you can sit back down. So rising to the occasion is about taking opportunities for creative advancement when they come. This is about recognizing that you have permission to expand and grow. You get to be seen. This stage is important because it's when you get to recognize that all the work you've done leading up to this point has prepared you for these opportunities. You will learn as you rise to the occasion over and over, you'll learn to expect marvelous things of your creative superpowers. You'll gain strength as you gain experience, and that will turn into creative confidence that will carry you forward. You will cross over into a place of creative strength where your efforts yield greater results than ever before.
So now we're going to circle into, excuse my slide comes, there you are. We're circling into the real goal of this process now, and that's walking in power to change the world as a creative leader. Now, every superhero is unique, and every creative leader is unique. Each one carries their own facets and their own skill sets. But there is one key factor that all creative leaders have, and that is that they are empowering. Creative leaders use their position of strength and their platform to help other people rise up to the same level that they have reached and to even go beyond where they have been themselves. This is the time when creative leaders become pioneers and path makers. They're the ones that fought through the hard stuff. They blazed the trail to get to where they are now, and now they're helping others follow along behind them well. They do this because they know that helping other people follow and do better on this path than they did is actually the redemption of all the hardship and the difficulty that they went through themselves. Creative leaders are also the champions of excellence in their field. They do this through their own creative expression, and they also do it through investing in their communities. Now, creative leaders recognize that it's not just about individual successes when it comes to this process. It's actually about the community, because when the community flourishes, everyone benefits. So you'll always see community leadership coming from creative leaders, and you'll always see them investing in the creative community around them.
Creative leaders are also vulnerable and authentic. They don't waste time building a false image of themselves that they then have to maintain. True creative leaders recognize that a vulnerable, honest retelling of their own story with its struggles and its glories is going to benefit themselves and everyone around them. They are also humble and they're teachable. Creative leaders are willing to receive feedback from people around them, whether they appear to be on their own level or somewhere else in their journey. They're also constantly learning and growing because they recognize that their true value comes out of who they are, not any accolades or achievements they may have accrued over time. Another virtue of creative leaders is that they're generous and open. There is no orphan mindset here that fears the advancement of other people because they believe that it takes something away from themselves. Quite the contrary. Creative leaders function in an abundance mindset because they recognize that their resources are truly limitless, they know their source, and because they understand that the more they pour out, the more their capacity to receive increases.
Creative leaders are also grateful and unentitled. They practice gratitude as an intentional aspect of their lives. This is a daily mindset. I actually read today that gratitude is the overflow of an abundant soul. And that's how creative leaders walk. It's out of the abundance of their souls that this gratitude comes out. And as their souls flourish, they walk in gratitude on a daily basis, recognizing that everything that they receive is a gift. Creative leaders are also legacy-minded. They consider future generations when they make decisions about how to use their creativity and where to direct their attentions. They also celebrate where people are now and who they're becoming. So what they do is they see into the future and they help guide the present generation and future generations to get to that place. Now, as I said earlier, creative leadership is the goal of this creative superhero journey. But it's not the goal just so that you can get to some pinnacle of achievement and go, oh, you know, I've gotten here and I'm amazing and I'm a creative leader and that's that. That's not why you're doing this. You're doing this because you're aiming to get to a place of maturity from which you can influence and aid everyone around you. Essentially, you're climbing the mountain, you're getting to the mountaintop, and then you're turning around and helping other people come up behind you. That's what it means to be a creative leader, that you're not just in this for yourself. You're in this for the community around you, and you put the work in, not just to go forward on your own, but to carry everyone forward with you.
So we've come full circle back to where we started. Do you see yourself as this creative superhero a little more clearly? Pull that picture back up in your mind from the beginning. Can you think about what your name is or what some of your powers might be? Got that costume, you know, you're working on it. No matter where you are in your superhero journey, whether you're wrestling with your backstory, you might be experimenting in fun and games, or if you're a fully fledged creative leader, we are excited for you and your journey. And we have one final question for you. What are you going to do to change the world?
Wow.